Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to our channel. So again, today is Tuesday, and we have Lakshay Gandhi. As you all know, today we are all facing the rising interest rates. So Lakshay has a little bit of a solution for us all. Four ways to navigate the interest rate hikes. So Lakshay, how can you help us all, uh, save some money and navigate through these interest rate hikes?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys for joining in. Today's topic, once again, it is going to be how to navigate the interest rate hikes. Once again, my name is Lakshay. I have my two offices in Ontario, working as a full cycle accountant for realtors, real estate brokerages, as well as various other businesses within the province of Ontario. So if you need any help in terms of incorporation, bookkeeping, accounting, you can reach out to my email address, or you can reach out through me by calling me directly. So I know a lot of the people are under pressure because they are seeing rate a rate hike every single um, and with every single announcement, there's a 25 basis point, 50 basis point, 75 basis point increment in interest rate. So a lot of you guys are wondering, how do I navigate through these tough times? So today's presentation is going to highlight four ways that you can navigate the interest rate hikes. The idea behind today's presentation is technically to get more money in your hand. So if you have cash, and we all know cash is king, how can we save a little bit here and there in order to have more cash in our hands to avoid paying. If we have more cash in our hands, we can use it further to make decisions in regards to investment or making more money. So all of these four strategies are talking about interest rate navigation, but also talking about how to increase cash flow. So without further ado, let's get started. So on to the next slide, we have agenda for today, which is four strategies. Strategy number one is creating capacity in your budget. Strategy number two is extending your amortization period. Number three is converting a portion of your mortgage to interest only payment. And number four is the cash flow booster. Just a piece of advice. All of these strategies are need to be consulted with your accountant or your mortgage broker before implementing. Not This is not a cookie cutter answer where you can simply pick it up from here and apply it in your personal life. You There's a lot more detail attached to each of these strategies, and a lot of legwork that needs to be done. We have some consultants in our team, and these strategies were picked up from another accountant as well as broker, a very famous one in Ontario. I'm just here to relay the same message to kind of educate my viewers and my audiences. By no means it is a plagiarism. It's a disclaimer that I am using someone else's strategy to kind of explain to my viewers as well. So strategy number one, it talks about creating capacity in your budget. We all have a budget. We all have a monthly budget, but how do we, find economies of scale within our existing budget to kind of, use that towards our advantage? So, for example, you have a car loan payment of $900 a month, right? That we all know the interest rate on lease and finance are pretty high right now. So, recently I picked up a car. The monthly payment is 900, and 6.99% is the cost to lease. So, very high 7% interest rate. I also have, on the other hand, a line of credit from my business, which is at a pre-approved line of credit. I had it from a few in the past, few years in the past. I never used it, but there's $50,000 sitting there. How can I use both of these to create capacity in my budget? I can technically use the line of credit, which I'm paying 3.5%, use that to offset all of my car loan payments, which is $900 a month. How will that really help us? It will technically create a cash residual, or like basically a saving per month for me, because there's a difference of almost 2.5% of rate of interest in every month that I'm paying. So if I can pay off a lower amount of debt, um, If I can use the money of line of credit to pay expensive debt, then that is what creating capacity in your budget really means. So you are technically using the cheap money in the line of credit and clear off your outstanding loan of your car or any other thing that is cheap compared to because the line of credit money is cheap, you can pay off a debt which is a very high interest rate. What will that do? That will create a capacity in your budget to kind of navigate through these tough times where interest rate is increasing. Your mortgage payments per month might have increased. If it hasn't increased yet, maybe the mortgage has you have a very good bank that is supporting you and you are well under the trigger rate. But eventually, with December hike, you can see there might be an increase in a monthly payment. So this creates a very good buffer for you in terms of in our strategy number one, where you're using cheap money to offset a loan which was monthly that is being paid for your car loan or any other loan. So something to think about, something to look at when you are looking at it from the overall perspective, which is consolidating your debt. Now let's look at strategy number two. Strategy number two simply talks about extending the amortization period. A lot of us have an amortization of 25 years or 30 years per se, but I'm not sure if you know, we can actually go to the bank and ask the branch manager to extend the amortization period from 25 year to 30 year. What that will do, that will decrease the amount of payment monthly that you pay for your mortgage. By all means, not all banks are going to support this, but if your bank is allowed to do it without a refinance application, that is something that is key that you can explore right now because at the end of the day, the more money you save, the better off it is because the interest rate is too high. With the residual additional cash that is created, you can use that money to invest or maybe yield better returns. So by all means, even if your bank allows to go up until 40-year amortization, something to explore. And if your monthly payments are getting out of control, out of pocket, this is certainly something that can be explored and talked to with the branch manager of your bank and see if they entertain this idea because it can save you monthly payment of 250 to $300, which could be for some people significant on a month-to-month basis. Any questions so far? All right, I guess it's fairly simple so far. Any questions, Vez?
Not at the moment, Lakshay, but this is some good tips. Extending amortization. I think I'm going to talk to my bank on that right now.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think some of these strategies, for those of you who cannot hear, Wes just mentioned that that is something that his clients or himself can personally look into when it comes to extending the amortization. So certainly, you should consider. Strategy number three. This one's a little bit more in depth, so bear with me. Number three converts a portion of your existing mortgage to interest only payment. So with the interest rate hike, every month your payment is must be increasing, right? If it's a bigger bank, your payment might have not changed, but the interest portion of that payment has increased. If it's a Meridian or Home Trust or a smaller, institution, they might have reflected your payment right away. So what do I mean by converting a portion of your mortgage into interest only payment? So if let's assume you have a $500,000 mortgage, in that $500,000 mortgage, you have 25 years amortization and 5.45% interest rate. So your monthly payment is, let's assume, 2,600 month payment. So if you slice this mortgage into two components of $250,000 each, where the initial 250,000 is consists of principal and the interest, but the second portion as a 250K line of credit, which is interest only. um, Both of these combined, if you combine all both of the line of credit and the interest, you will have some savings. Your monthly payment will drop from 2,600 to maybe $2,300 or $2,400, even with combined. Keep in mind that what we're trying to do here is create a cash surplus because you're bleeding cash, and cash is king. So in this scenario, what you're trying to do is break up your mortgage into two portions, and those two portions, one is interest only, the second one is actually a regular traditional mortgage. With this, you will it will result you in a 200 to $300 a month cash surplus or savings. That cash surplus or savings can technically be used to relieve the interest rate hike that you are facing right now. You might be paying a couple hundred more in your monthly payment, but if you use this strategy, you will create a saving of $200-300, which might be enough for you to kind of get by through this high interest rate period. Keep in mind, this is more like a last resort strategy. It's only beneficial on bigger mortgages. Smaller mortgages, you only see a difference of $100 to $200. It's not really worth the time and effort. And this kind of strategy would require you to do a refinance application because you're breaking your current one into two split mortgages. So, and the second important part is this line of credit. Once the interest rate part is sort of under control, you can convert it into a re-advanceable mortgage later, and play around with it in that sense and make use of it. So something to think about, but not the best one out of the four. So now let's move on to the best one out of the four, which is cash flow booster. This is number four of the top four strategies that I wanted to talk about today. Cash flow booster is, like the name suggests, the idea behind this is creating extra cash through a re-advanceable mortgage. What does that mean? For example, you have a 400K mortgage at 5% interest rate. You have a rental income of 3,500. You have a mortgage of $3,800 worth of monthly expenses that you have to maintain to do the utilities. So you currently have a negative cash flow of $300 a month. So how can you make use of the cash flow booster? What cash flow booster will allow you to do is you set up a secured dynamic advanceable line of credit uh, with the equity in your mortgage. So in the 400K mortgage, maybe you have an equity of 300K. In this scenario, I just assumed the 400K is the whole mortgage. So when you use this cash flow booster, is basically you're unlocking the borrowing capacity of the line of credit. You haven't actually, let's move on to the next slide. or bigger loans that are sitting outside, and this can certainly help you in the future. So I hope you liked your today's presentation. If you guys have any questions, this will be the time to ask, and I'll be more than happy to answer.
Hi, Laksh, this is Rishi here.
Go ahead, Rishi.
So, Laksh, I have a question on the strategy number 4 for the readvanceable mortgages.
Yes.
So, I know one thing for sure. This is the interest on the line of credit.
Mhm.
That is like if you use it to pay off your mortgage, that is deductible as expense on the investment properties. But is this applicable on the primary homes or no?
It won't be deductible on the primary home, right? You can still use
Okay.
to reduce the amount of outstanding loan because your current loan out also right now, if it has increased, it's probably sitting at, if it's variable, it's sitting at 6%. So even if you're reducing the principal mortgage, it is still beneficial to use the cheap money to pay off the 6% interest
Yes.
mortgage. And then what that technically is doing is it's creating every time you make a payment, it is opening more and more line of credit. With each payment that you make, your readvanceable mortgage keeps on increasing. And 18 to 24 months later, that additional money is what the cash flow booster is all about. That cash flow can
Makes
be
sense.
used elsewhere.
Yes, makes sense. Thank you.
Welcome.
So, Akshay, this is Mariam here.
Hi.
Just wanted to know that, hi. It's good, but things flow over my non-financial brain. Anyway, so my question is that this line of credit, once we go into this kind of an arrangement with the bank, then this is a new line of credit that opens up because when I got my mortgage, the bank offered me a line of credit of 10,000, which is sitting there.
Mhm. So,
will it go into? It can go into that line of credit. How does it work?
so there's two types, right? The one that they're talking about is a static, $10,000 limit, regardless of how much your equity is in the home.
Yeah.
You should be looking into an advanceable mortgage. What that means is, as you make more and more payments every month, this line of credit increases.
So this is a new line of credit.
Yes, some people call it home equity line of credit. As you make more and more payments towards your mortgage, the principal portion of it goes towards this line of credit, and you make more payments towards your mortgage, and the line of credit room increases and increases. With every payment, you get more and more room of line of credit.
So instead of my payment portion, so the only payment portion that will be going towards the real mortgage is the interest portion, and the portion that would have gone towards the principal is going into a line of credit.
Correct. But
So
you but the thing is, it doesn't mean if you don't use it, it stays there. It's still affecting your principal. The day you use it is when it really counts towards that, oh, you took out money from your principal.
So while all this is accumulating for 2 years, the only payment going towards the mortgage is the interest, and the principal comes and it accumulates here. So what is the benefit of it accumulating here?
So let's assume you needed to put a down payment for an investment property and you needed $100,000. You have this sitting $100,000, which wasn't available before, but now you have it available towards making this down payment.
So this down payment can go towards a new investment or you pour it back into your principal.
Exactly. If you don't use it, it's already pouring back to the principal residence. But if you want to use it, you have it available.
Okay, so this is, in a way, this is, as you said, it's a cash generating thing.
Cash flow booster.
Yeah, cash flow generation or whatever. And then this is kind of, it's a compulsory saving that you can use in a way.
Exactly. So I will tell you, as a realtor, are you a realtor?
I am. It's
Okay.
a new one.
So you will run into issues where there will be shortage of, money in of 20, 30,000 because of maybe uh, the because of the funding arrangement, right? You'll have clients, you'll have your friends' clients or someone who would need these 20, $30,000 short-term loans. So if you have this unlocked, you can use it anytime you want. If you have an investment that you want to make, you found a steal of a deal, right? And someone needs to make a a $20,000 deposit, 30, 40, 50, 100,000, right? These cash flow options they come in handy at that time.
So, you're kind of investing into from 2 years or 3 years from now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And at the time when you need this line of credit, there is no credit checks, there's no approval. It's sitting there, you just write a check and you can use it.
So it's your own money that you're using.
Yes. But a typical mortgage, like I have a mortgage, it's not readvanceable. I cannot use the equity portion, even if I wanted to use it today.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
So, Laksha, I have another question.
Go ahead.
So the study which we have discussed number 3, that a portion of the mortgage can be used as a interest-only payment. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you mentioned that this can be used when we do refinance. So my question, like, are banks they doing it for the properties, like for the new properties people are buying? Can you suggest it to those people?
Sorry, who are you trying to suggest this to?
Like people who have to do the closing, like the very first time closing, no refinance.
If they're doing so, is it an investment property they're trying to close?
No, primary.
You wouldn't in the primary option, right? They wouldn't even have this option like available.
Oh.
This is only available if you have an existing property that you're making regular payments to.
Okay,
right?
Applicable to existing home.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that part.
No worries. No, very good questions today. Any other questions?
I missed. Sorry, it's Miriam again.
Yes. Go ahead.
I was able to join 15 minutes into your presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could just briefly touch upon the other ones that you talked about.
Yeah, so today we talked about number one was creating capacity in your budget. So basically, let's assume you have a cheap line of credit money sitting and you have an high interest car loan payment. You can use the cheap line of credit money to pay off your high interest car loan payment, and that will create capacity in your budget. That was option number one. Option number two is go meet your bank manager and see if you can extend the amortization period from 25 years to 30 years, a 30-year period, or even 40 years. If they're allowed to do it without refinancing, take that option because it's going to save you $200 to $300 monthly on your monthly mortgage payment. So right now, if you're in dire need of cash, this is an option, which is extending the amortization period. Number three is not too advisable, but this is where you can split your existing $500,000 mortgage into two portions. One is the typical traditional mortgage, and the second one is actually interest only payments. That requires refinancing, and it is only advisable if you have maybe $1 million in mortgage or even more. For smaller funds, the impact on the cash flow is only like a couple $100, which is not worthwhile, but something to think about. And number four, I think you participated and you listened to, was Cash Flow Booster, which was typically highlighting about how you can use the benefits of readvanceable mortgage, basically.
Yes. So what about if somebody already has, let's say, like me, $10,000 in line of credit sitting there, which I don't use?
Mm-hmm.
Just down and invest it in the mortgage because that's a cheaper, lesser interest.
Or if you have a car loan payment, right? If you have a car loan payment that is I picked up a car, it was at 7% interest rate. I can use the line of credit, which is, very low interest rate, and I can clear off the high interest rate car, and that will, create some savings essentially for me because I don't have to pay that 8%, 7-8% anymore.
So the sitting line of credit you can use for, I understand car loan payments or something,
yeah,
but it doesn't make too much sense going back into the mortgage or something.
See, thing is, $10,000 is not significant amount, right?
Not significant.
I am talking about more like $50,000. Then we're in business.
Right? I just invested 60,000 into my mortgage, into my principal portion. bring down all these shenanigans that are happening, and
Correct.
like my $1,300 mortgage went into 1,900.
Wow.
So just bring it all down. Yeah, I had to do it. But
Correct.
that's me because that's
Yeah.
the way I thought, right?
Yeah, and now maybe when you were doing that, you could have asked them to, can you create a home equity line of credit? So when you make that $60,000 deposit, they will open a line of credit against the equity portion of the house, and you can re-borrow it if you really wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But can I still go and ask them to do it?
You can ask without the refinance application if they do it.
Okay.
Okay. Because when you go into refinancing, there's can of worms that you open. They will reassess your income documents, this and that, which I don't want you guys to go through the hassle of. If you can avoid it. If you don't have any choice, of course you don't have a choice. But I hope today's session kind of shed some light on how we can navigate through the interest rate hikes. Thank you guys for participating. A lot of good questions today. Really appreciate your time. We have 3 minutes left. I don't want the Zoom to cut off without saying a goodbye. So if any final thoughts, final questions, more than happy to answer them right now. All right, I guess that would be it. So thank you very much again for joining in, and really appreciate your time. And if you guys have any more questions, concerns, you want to incorporate as a realtor, or you want any accounting help or bookkeeping or taxation, you can reach out to me or my team, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Thank you very much.
Maybe you can do a mini course for us to understand all these nuances.
For sure. All right, thank you very much. Okay, Waze, are we still there? All right, thank you very much for joining in today, and I hope to see you guys next week, Tuesday. Take care.